I've been single for my entire adult life. I've just turned...
I'm 36. I'm single.
Okay, so I just want... Can I tell you?
I think one of the reasons that me and so many women in their 30s are...
Welcome to The Wall. Today we're going to talk about something a lot of women don't want to admit, but that's becoming more and more obvious. Women in their 30s are starting to panic. Not because there's a shortage of men, but because time has passed and it went by fast. 10, 12, even 15 years single, while they watch their friends get married, have kids, and move on, and they're left waiting for something that never comes. We want you to smash that like button. Let's hit 200,000 subscribers this new year. Don't forget to leave a comment to help wake more men up. And with that, let's get started.
I've been single for my entire adult life. I've just turned 32 and my last boyfriend was about 15 years ago, and I've never had the experience of someone wanting to spend the rest of their life with me, laying in bed next to me, to weddings, cooking me dinner when I get home. I've never had anybody take me on a date, and that often makes me feel like I've failed at life. I've had so many thoughts of what I would do if I had a partner, like going on holiday, walking hand in hand down the street with them, someone that isn't embarrassed to be with me, cooking at home together. I see all these videos of people doing this when they're in a relationship and it looks fun. And then there's people on the other side who say it's not all it's cracked up to be, but they've also got to experience that. And when you don't get to experience that, it just feels like you're missing out. And I don't know if I'm ever going to be able to experience that kind of love with someone, but I just wanted other people to know that they're not alone. You can feel so lonely and like you're the only one that's going through that emotion, but there are a lot of people out there that are in the same boat. Not being able to experience that kind of love with someone can make you feel even more alone. And I just wanted people to know that you aren't alone.
I'm 36. I'm single, and unfortunately, I'm attracted to men. Dating has been terrible. Most men, I tell them exactly what I need and what I'm wanting from them. Most of it is just better communication. That's literally it. Like, the bar is so low, and men can't even do that. It's like I'm holding the door open for them, and I'm like, hey, like, this is exactly what I need and what I'm wanting from you. And they just stand there, like, staring at the door. It's so tiring and it's so exhausting. Like, I don't even know what to do anymore. I'm like, why is this so hard for you? I literally told you what I wanted and what I'm needing. I, like, wrote it out and you can't even comprehend that. So that's where I'm at. I do have a date next weekend with a guy who has great communication. He's 37. Also, age does not matter. I've dated 40-year-olds who, dude, they're just dumb. So I'm hoping, no, I have a feeling this guy is going to be great. I just hope that we have the connection that I need and want, and that he needs and wants. But like the last two guys I've dated, I've literally been like, this is what I need. This is what I'm wanting. Like, you need better communication. And also, I'm so blunt these days, like, straightforward, like, they're like beating around the bush and I'm like, oh, so you're canceling our date? And they're like, well, yeah. And I'm like, okay, well, I would like for you to take the initiative to plan another date. Like, why don't you do that? Like, it's fine if you need to cancel, but just plan the next date. And then they don't. And then they ignore that text and they're like, oh, you got a new tattoo? I want to see. And I'm like, I don't give a fuck about my tattoo. What I care about is you planning the next date. And then you don't, so now I'm not going to talk to you. Now I'm going to ghost you. Sorry, not sorry.
You know why some women manage to get a man to put in real effort for them? Because they carry themselves like ladies. When you go on a date and see a woman with a septum ring, covered in tattoos, even if she behaves well, the first impression she gives off is that of an easy woman. The problem is that a lot of women demand effort from men while giving off nothing that inspires effort in return. And that contradiction is starting to take its toll. Today, we're seeing millions of women hitting the wall, and the statistics had already warned us. By 2030, nearly half of women in their 30s will be single. It wasn't a threat, it was a prediction based on real patterns. Men stop chasing because there's nothing left to chase. The dating market is broken, and this kind of situation keeps happening over and over again. Watch the next video and tell me if it's not exactly the same thing.
Okay, so I just want... Can I tell you how thankful I am? Well, I am still single at 33 years old. I have successfully avoided the divorce era because in the past week, I have talked to 4 people who have been divorced and or going through a divorce. 4. I've never been married. I have no kids. I don't bring baggage from relationship to relationship because I work on myself before I get into another relationship. And I am so happy about that. And the people who are divorced that I'm talking to, they all say generally the same thing. Like, they ignored flags in the beginning. They just went with it because that's what you were supposed to do. And it was very, very like surface level, and they just like settled. And now these people are looking for exactly what I am looking for, but I have less baggage than them. And I feel like that is a win in my book.
I think one of the reasons that me and so many women in their 30s are single is because we don't want to train men. I was talking to my girlfriend the other day about this guy that I've been talking to who isn't quite acting as I would expect. And she was like, oh, that's trainable. That's not necessarily a deal breaker. Sometimes they just need a little bit of coaching. What if I don't want to be a coach? Why have we normalized training men? Why would I want to be with someone who I have to teach how to treat me? I didn't have to be trained. I have so many amazing girlfriends who didn't have to be trained. So why are we okay with the idea that we have to train our boyfriends? Now, I'm not saying that relationships don't take communication. Obviously, if you have expectations of your partner, you have to make them known. But I think the idea of training men is a modern day way of saying I can change him. And I think that leads women to settle. If I wanted to train something, I would get a dog.
Congratulations, then go buy yourself a cat. The pattern is clear from the start. Women in their 30s and 33, single, building their idea of love based on other people's experiences, not their own. They never stop to question whether their friends might also be part of the problem, and they rarely consider that many divorces don't happen because of the man, but because of shared bad decisions. Even less do they accept that what attracts them doesn't have to align with what appeals to their social circle. Living in constant comparison and borrowing other people's stories only leads to personal failure. These women are at the ideal age to start a family, but they speak from fantasy, not reality. They wasted time chasing an unattainable ideal, ignoring responsible, hardworking men who were ready to build something real. A man isn't looking for perfection or speeches. He's looking for cooperation, support, and real actions. Everything else develops over time. Chasing the perfect human being only leads to loneliness, surrounded by nothing but broken expectations. That's why they hit the wall, because the wall doesn't forgive.
I already know that only hyper-independent, chronically single women are going to understand what I'm about to say. Do any of you guys also think about like wanting to get married one day, but then the thought of not being single one day make you so sad? Like, it makes me grieve. Like, I genuinely am like, not because I'm unhealed, but because I love being alone. Like, I just love my little quaint, peaceful, and not like I'm outside, okay? I'm a homebody. I don't leave my house. So the thought of having to like leave my house and entertain another human being, share the air that I am breathing with another human being, and like not be so independent, not like we're gonna ever lose our independence, but like we're gonna have to give a little, adjust, and like not be so comfortable being alone. I can be alone, me, my dog, and God for the rest of my life, and I will be content, okay? But obviously I know that I want to get married one day, and I'm 31, so it's like I'm reaching the age where I'm like, all right, you gotta like snap out of this. But I don't want to, but like I do. You know what I mean? Like this, do you know what I mean?
Here are my top 5 most annoying things that people say to me as a chronically single 30-year-old as I get ready for my 10th baby shower of the year. Okay, so number 1 has to be, it will happen when you're not looking. Have you seen it out there? There is not much to look at, okay? I'm certainly not looking. I don't know if I need to be blindfolded and take some extra measures, but I promise you, I'm not looking. Number 2, which is contradictory to number 1, you have to put yourself out there. And it's always followed up with, have you tried dating apps? No, Karen, I've never thought of that foreign concept before. And let me just say, the dating apps aren't it, okay? You know the leftovers that you have in the fridge that you forgot about from 2 weeks ago that are all the way in the back? That's what's on dating apps. There's nothing to look at. Let me also just say that I travel a lot. Like, I am gone in a new city almost every weekend. I'm out there. I'm screaming for the rooftops if you look at the rest of my TikTok. I am single, I am 30, and I am waiting for a husband. Can't say looking because I'm supposed to not be looking. Number 3 is always funny because I could tell it's like a pity one. You're still so young. No, you still have so much time. I'm 30. If I wait any longer, my friends' kids will be old enough to date me. I don't have time. No, I don't. Barely got any left. It's fine. Number 4, date older. And when they say date older, you know that they mean like 10 years older, right? So now we're looking at a 40-year-old man that's single, probably hasn't been married yet, and they want me to date him, date older. Does anybody else see the red flags there? 40, never married, still single. No, I don't think dating older is gonna work, but thank you for your unsolicited advice. And then number 5, don't settle. Well, Linda, I wouldn't have made it this far if I planned on settling, now would I have? Someone, for the love of God, please help me.
Oh, hell no!
These women talk as if men are going extinct, when in reality, they're the ones who've become inaccessible. Let me explain. When all those ridiculous harassment laws started being pushed, a lot of men just decided to back off. The other day I was at a bar, not my usual scene, but I was out with some friends, and I didn't see a single young guy approach a woman, even when it was obvious the women were open to being approached. Then they complain about the usual advice, dating apps, you're still young, but once you hit 30, the reality shifts. Your friends stop going out, now they're inviting you to baby showers, and you end up being labeled the single one in the group while your social circle shrinks. Men do show up, but they're only looking for the 666 myth. 6 feet tall, 6-figure income, and a six-pack. An average guy, even a 40-year-old man in his prime, is seen as a red flag to them. That's when it becomes clear why they're still single.
So you know what's the worst part of dating when you're 31 is that either all the good ones are married, happy for you guys, but then you have this pool of guys that's either gay or they're just not worth it.
I am 30 years old and I have been single for over 12 years, so never had a real adult relationship. And I wanted to talk about something that might ring true for some people that are in the same position as me, that is from time to time feeling a bit lonely. And it's like one of those real shameful and embarrassing things to admit, I feel like, when someone asks if you're lonely. It's not something you want to admit to because you want people to believe that you're happy and you're not worried about that sort of ever-looming possibility of being on your own forever, you know. And I know it's 30 is still really young, I know that, but when everyone around you is getting married, having babies, getting engaged, you know, moving in with partners and stuff, it can feel a bit overwhelming. And to be honest, most of the time I'm pretty good. Like, I don't sit on the feeling too much. It's only when it comes around the weekend, and luckily I have friends that their life isn't kind of revolving around their partners and their relationships. They actually want to do stuff with their friends. Luckily I have friends like that, so I don't ever feel alone, and have no plans to do anything at the weekends because they're off doing stuff with their partners. However, especially now we're in the winter and we're coming up to Christmas, it's that time of year where couples seem to show off a bit, maybe. Not show off, but they seem to be more apparent and more people getting into relationships than you noticed before. And that's what they call it, the cuffing season, I suppose. But just wanted to share my thoughts that I always try and keep myself busy over the weekends. I try and make plans, see my friends, see my family. I'm more open to the prospect of meeting someone now, whereas before I was very shut off from the idea. And I think maybe It's like some subconscious way of being shut off, then you don't get hurt and you don't get rejected. So you reject them first, sort of situation. So maybe it's that. But yeah, I just wanted to share this. And for anyone that's feeling the same, know that you're not alone, and we can stick together.
It's not that all the good men are taken. It's that you're chasing the finished product instead of betting on a man's potential. You've forgotten that, historically, the woman was the man's suitable helper, the one who builds with him, not the one who shows up after everything's already been built. If a man treats you well, works hard, and has solid values, that's more than enough raw material to build a strong relationship. The rest gets refined over time with mutual cooperation. But nowadays, a lot of women only aim for the top 20%, where they bring nothing to the table but their presence. And that's not how anything lasting is built. Every successful couple started off incomplete, imperfect, growing together. These women refuse to be the woman who's part of the process, and then they're shocked when they hit the wall. And the wall doesn't forgive.
It's really scary now because I know I'm 34, but then at the same time, I'm looking at the guys that are my age and older, even like a couple of years. I'm like, and please, the guys on there, I'm not saying this with any hate or anything. This comes from a place of love, but I'm like, God damn, like, sir, the Sydney sun has not been kind to you. Like, have you not been using sun cream? These men look like they're sultanas. They look fucking old. They look like my grandpa. I mean, I have nothing. I'm a hairdresser background. I have nothing against the silver fox look. I love a man that's got grey hair, right? We're not even talking about that. We are talking about these guys that have like receded, gone grey, but they look so much older than what they are. And at the same time, I feel like I'm 34, but I still feel like I'm like really young at heart and I don't look my age. So can you imagine how weird that would look if I'm walking next to grandpa over here, like down the street? People are going to think I'm their fucking like mail order bride. That's going to look all sorts of wrong. So I'm in this weird, warped stage of my life at the moment when it comes to dating. It's fucking weird.
The hardest part of dating, and I'm going to say what you are not expecting, but the hardest part of dating for me is people's lack of care for themselves. I find a lot of men that try to approach me are men that have nice cars, nice watches. They go out all the time to these fancy dinners, but that's the problem. They're out 2 to 4 times a week. They're drinking every time they're out. I don't think they're drinking enough water. They're not on a routine, as in working out, taking care of their one and only vessel. Like, I see your priorities. Alcohol is really bad for us, like extremely bad. And I know I want my man to last a really long time. And I know that people have all these other icks in dating, but I think my biggest one is lack of a routine and lack of care when it comes to taking care of their bodies. And I know that maybe that's when a woman comes in and stuff like that, but generally you should already have something in place, and it's going to get better with a woman for sure. It's absolutely going to get better, but you should already have a workout in place. You should already be disciplined enough to not be out 2 to 4 times a week. And I know a lot of people are like, well, I'm networking or I'm entertaining clients. You could say no. You should go take care of your mental health and your health by not working after work. But yeah, I think that's where I'm at. And yeah, it's not how they come at me or this. It's I think about paying mind to these people, and then I'm always reminded they're out 2 to 4 times a week. Why would I talk to a man that doesn't put that much love and intention into his only vessel? As someone who's learned grief at a young age, I want you to stick around. I want people to be there with me and feel good during that time. And what we do now in our 30s is reflecting how we're going to feel in 10 years. And you should be really conscious of that at this age. And if you're not the one for me.
Lady, at 34, you're already looking closer to 40. You're a long way from that 10 you've assigned yourself. If you're aiming to be the typical catalog wife, the truth is harsh. That usually applies to women under 30, and that phase is well behind you now. The smartest move would be to start looking at those silver-haired or white-haired men, because the train with younger options is pulling away, and once it's gone, it doesn't come back. As for the other woman, I completely agree on one point. Working out and taking care of your body should be a priority for any man who respects himself. It's about health, energy, and longevity. But she takes it too far by turning it into a non-negotiable requirement just to even consider a man as a serious partner. Especially when she shows up with a sleeve full of tattoos for a good number of men. That alone puts you off the list automatically. In the end, everyone has their standards, but the hypocrisy and double standards are pretty obvious too.
Women.
We've reached the end of the video, but before we go, the questions are for you. To what extent are modern women projecting unreachable ideals onto men while refusing to give up even a bit of their independence? Which standard makes more sense today? I won't settle, or I'll build with someone stable. Where do you draw the line? If you liked the video, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell. Your support means a lot to us and keeps us motivated to keep creating more content. Stay tuned for the next video from the wall.